Welcome back to Grady's Garage. If your Jeep spends any time like mine does with the doors off, you may have run into a similar problem that I have. No mirrors. And this company, Joytutus, may have the solution to our problem in an affordable fashion. These are mirrors for when your doors are off. And the name of the company stands for happiness and safety. We're going to test that. Stick around, check it out. All right, I want to start this off with an unboxing. The box that it was shipped in came undamaged. It had a fair amount of packing material in it to hold the inner box well in its place. I was a little bit surprised with how small the box was for a pair of mirrors, but they did a very good job of packing everything in there. Upon opening the box, first thing you're going to find is your instructions, and then under that is a piece of foam which you peel back or pull out, and then below that are all your mirror parts. Each mirror part is individually wrapped in plastic so it won't rub on each other and rub through the coating on each mirror part, which is nice. And the mirrors have a protective film on them as well that you'll need to remove, obviously. Definitely pleased with how everything was packaged inside the box. The mirrors felt to the touch to be metal. The shaft that comes out of it was very hard to move, which of course is good because you don't want these being wobbly. And the actual texture of the finish was a little bit rough to the hand, a matte finish I would call it, almost a semi-gloss matte with a rubber seal around the outside of the mirror. The same finish was used on all the parts, so they had the same texture and finish to it, which was nice for the consistency purposes. I was glad to see that Joytutus also provided the hardware for the mirrors. The attachment brackets were a thick metal, almost 1/4 inch, I would say. I don't have a caliper on me, so I couldn't test the actual thickness of them. They seemed to be metal, and they had a nice rubber backing on them for the area that would be sandwiched between the bracket and your Jeep, so it wouldn't scratch the paint up. Now to test if it was actually metal, I grabbed this rare earth magnet, slapped it on each part to see if they were indeed metal, or if it just felt metal, and the magnet stuck to all of the various parts, telling me that these were in fact metal parts. Now the first thing I'm going to do is remove this bolt so that it is not in the way of me installing the bolts that attach to the body right here. So I'm just going to get that out of the way, and then we're going to find out where it actually fits on the Jeep. So our attachment point is going to be here right by the mirror on these two existing body bolts. So I'm going to have to go get our Torx head and get that out of there. All right, the Torx that fits my Jeep is the T40. I'm not sure if that is the same on yours or not. I'm going to use an impact so I can press in on it as I'm trying to extract the bolt. You can certainly use a ratchet, but I feel a little better that this is going to come out without stripping it. I've decided to go with a breaker bar because I can kind of feel what's going on. I was using the impact before and I didn't want to give it the full uggas on this. I've heard that these are hard to get out. I've never actually tried it before. These have been in here for 27 years. So wish me luck. I'm pushing in hard on it and got it. Okay. I suggest the breaker bar. And a quality Torx socket as well. That took a good bit of effort, I've got to admit. But once they're free, they come out pretty easily. I'll show you the condition of these. It's probably got some Loctite on it. It does. It's got some factory Loctite on it. You can see that Loctite on there, right there. That was giving me the trouble. Next, put your washer on your bolts. A pair of bolts that you're going to use. and then reinstall the mirror brackets. I'm going to have the nut part of the bracket facing down. And that fits pretty darn good. I'm able to finger tighten both of them. All right, just get the ratchet and tighten that up. Now Joytutus provided this hex key which fits the larger of the hex heads, but it does not fit the smaller one, which I found the 7/32 hex key that I have fits really nicely. So that's what I'm going to use to snug these down. Again, that's a 7/32. Now I'm going to add that the finish on this is really nice. Honestly, for the price, I'm fairly impressed with the quality of the materials and the coating. We'll see how it holds up over time, but just from an initial standpoint, I like it. No machining errors with these holes either. They fit nicely with the original body holes. Now I'm going to insert the barrel back into the bracket that I took out earlier. And if you see, it's got a nice knurling there that will help grip it and keep it from sliding this way and that way. The mirror arm will go through here. Your bolt will go through the mirror arm, and that will keep it from rotating this way. And also it looks like it has a pretty nice clamping force here with this gap they have in here. So that should hold that mirror pretty darn steady. Now be sure you note that there is a left and a right, camera's picking that up or not, a left and a right mirror bracket, so make sure you're using the correct mirror bracket on the correct side, otherwise your mirror is going to be dangling down towards the ground. The left, of course, is driver, right is passenger. Now when you're ready to put your doors back on, all you got to do is remove this bolt on the top, and it'll come right out, which is probably why this hex key is nice to keep in the Jeep. That way when you want to remove these mirrors, you don't have to go digging through your tools to find what you need. Now I don't know where I want it exactly, so I'm not going to get it too tight just yet. We'll snug it down a little bit. I'm going to guess about right there. Then we need to just install the mirror itself. It's got a washer and a lock washer on there, so I want to make sure that we don't drop those. Oops. And then we just put it through here like so. And then we'll snug that down. The mirror itself requires a 13mm to tighten this bolt. Now it does have a slot on this side where you could put a very thin spanner. They do not provide one. I don't know if you have any, but it seems to snug down without the barrel spinning, so I think it'll be fine. Looks nice. It's about the same size as the original Jeep door mirror. That's why I went with these. They had several options to go with. Those smaller round ones. They had a larger one. They also had like kind of a modern looking one, but it mirrored, the original Jeep mirrors. So now all I gotta do is repeat it on the other side, adjust them. We'll take it out for a drive and see how well they work on the road. So if you're wondering what it's like with just the door on and the mirrors off, on the driver's side here before I finish installing it, I put the door back on to see what it would be like. And what's good is if you open the door and you're like me and you don't connect the door straps, it's not going to dent your door because it will hit the mirror, this plastic mirror bracket. And so you won't have any issues with your door getting dented, which is nice because, you know, you've got the strap on here, but I always, you know, for me to connect it with my cage is a pain in the butt. I got to put it through here. So knowing that gives me a little peace of mind. Got the driver's side installed, and I'll tell you what, it's looking good, feels good, nice and tight. These mirrors were not easy to move into position, which is good because you don't want them flopping around in the wind. So we're going to take it out on the road and see if I am happy and safe. Hopefully I'm more safe. I'm always generally pretty happy. But we're about to find out if I can be both. All right, time for the final review of the Joytutus mirrors. Do they live up to the name of happiness and safety? Absolutely. Fit and finish is great on these mirrors, especially for the price. Stability, they stayed stable throughout the day. I showed you some video of me on the road, didn't have any issues with them moving out of place. And I don't foresee any as well. Very tight fit, and I mean, they're not going to move. So, I mean, if that's something you'll be worried about, don't worry about that. Definitely a secure mirror. Safety-wise, vision, I can see well behind me, the traffic behind me. It's got a really good field of view from the driver's seat. I can see both mirrors clearly. Man, I really like them. And if you're looking for a set of mirrors for when you take a door off, don't be afraid to pull the trigger on this purchase. I've got a link in the description so you can go get these exact mirrors. Joytutus has some other mirrors you may want to check out. If they're as good as these, I would have no qualms in making that purchase. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please hit the like and or subscribe. Come back, check out some more. For myself, Grady, y'all have a great evening.